Hello, Dr. Diamond Club podcast listeners. My name is Brian Wright, national keynote speaker, CEO of New Patient Group, the founder of the Dr. Diamond Club, and co-host of the Dr. Diamond Club podcast. Today, we're going to focus on internal marketing and how it trumps everything. Effective frequency. The number of times a person must be exposed to an advertising message before a response is made. And I have news for you. Effective frequency just doesn't apply to Geico or State Farm. It applies to every business on the planet dealing with people, which means it very much applies to your practice. We're going to get to one of the quick tips on this one is how to increase your referrals, and it's a free method. That's what I love about effective frequency and all this biology stuff is you've got people all over, they're paying thousands of dollars all over the place for different kinds of marketing, and even the marketing doesn't come with consumer psychology expertise. Whatever marketing you do, the words on your website, the words on social media, on a postcard, the list goes on, it better be written by a consumer psychology expert. If not, you're losing money because it's all about consumer psychology. Marketing, that's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. I'm going to tell you my postcard story. I live in a place called Eagle Springs. It's on the north side of Houston. And I've been in this house for 13 years. I love this story. The first part of it deals with effective frequency that this practice did very well, that most practices do not do. This is a little outside the story. I just want to give all you guys a tip. If you're going to do any kind of marketing campaign, a postcard campaign, etc., you need to be prepared to do it for the long term. Do not spend money on a postcard campaign if you're going to send it out once or twice. That's not the way external marketing works, and that's not opinion. Effective frequency, remember the definition that I just told you. Basically what it says is consumers need to hear a message upwards of 20 times before they're likely to act at a high level or anywhere close to a high level. Upwards of 20 times. Think about that. Think about that for a second. That's a lot of times. I mean, how many times does a patient come and see you and sit in hygiene? This is obviously a message to our GPs right now. You know, at most, they're probably there 2-3 times a year. Well, guess what? If you're telling them one message every time they're there and you're trying to get it across to them 20 times, that's going to be a long time before they do anything. That's the difficulty of science and effective frequency. Now, back to this story. I received a postcard from this dental practice every single month for 6 years living here. Every single month for 6 years. And 1 month during that 6th year, I just happened to be looking for a dentist. I wasn't happy with some of the things that was going on in my previous one. And they just happened to hit me at the right time. And that is what external marketing does. You've got to keep hitting a person until you hit them at a time where there's a pain point that they need solved. Other things as well, but you get the point. And because they did it every month, they achieved effective frequency. And I decided to pick up the phone and call them. Now, before I move on to the internal defeated the external, one of the things I want you to look at is this postcard over here. And that's why external marketing is very difficult to tell the consumer, to tell the community why you're better. The best way to do that is with internal marketing for hundreds of examples. And the next best way is through social media and on your website. But even that's hard. External marketing, it's very difficult because look at that postcard for a second. Where is the value? If you slap the name of your practice on that postcard, where on that postcard does it tell the consumer why you're the best in town? And the answer is it doesn't. And it's very difficult for it to. We're going to discuss some ways that you can do it later on. But where does it discuss the value? It's absent, meaning that right now, the only thing that this consumer is going to come in for you for, to see you, is because you're the cheapest. Right now, it is this person's cheap, I'm going to give them a try. So right now, there's no value in their mind, which is a problem. Again, going back to why consumers don't see value in dentistry, why only half the country goes. Right now, they're price sensitive to why you're the place to be. Now, if I pick up the telephone and I call from this postcard, that is when your external marketing is over. External marketing's done. Now internal marketing takes over, which is why internal marketing, we're going to talk about it more, it produces by far the largest return on investment, not even close. Because it's the only form of marketing where all other marketing ties in with. Because now your people on the phone, when they gather that call, they have to begin the value proposition that your external marketing cannot do. Every word, the verbiage skills that come out of their mouth is marketing. It has a direct perception on how consumers view your business before they even get into your business. Every word they speak, every breath they take, everything they do is internal marketing. And if they're not shedding value on every aspect of what you provide over your competition, this postcard is not enough to get them in. So your people have to be great. Now back to the story on this is I picked up the phone and they were terrible. They were rude. The person didn't answer with their name. Sounded like she hated her job. And this is a practice that's dumping external marketing dollars to increase call volume with people who answer the phone like that all the time. And it's why, again, internal defeats the external all the time. And it also did it with this practice, but in a different way. It defeated the external because their dollars are going down the drain with the amount of people they're losing on the phones. That they probably don't track either, so they don't even know it. But I decided to go anyway, just because I wanted to check them out, okay? I get in there, and it's even worse. I wait 20, 25 minutes past my appointment time. Mind you, I'm a new patient, never been there before. The people were rude. It just wasn't that great. It was the normal healthcare experience. Lack of customer service, efficiency, list goes on and on. And that is why all of this ties together. Because if you're going to do marketing, you better darn well send it out multiple times, and it needs to be ongoing pretty much forever. You need to hit them monthly for the life of your practice. But when they do call, you better darn well have your internal right in order to make sure that effective frequency pays off for your practice. It all ties together because everything you do is marketing. Needless to say, I'm no longer a patient at that practice. That was a one-stop shop, a one-time visit, and it was all over. Now, talking about what I was just talking about. Internal marketing sits at the top. It sits at the top. There's all kinds of reasons. But what I really want to get it through everyone, especially our own clientele listening today, because this is stuff that when you talk to commercial CEOs, executives, they just eat this stuff up. But it's always been different in healthcare because of what you've been taught. Digital and online marketing, external print marketing, it's a needed thing. They're great. But they're worthless unless your internal marketing operates at high levels. Because if you do an external marketing campaign, the goal is either to get them to drive to your website, which in turn, they're going to call you, hopefully, if your website's converting, which means internal marketing takes over. If the external marketing campaign, they pick up the phone and call you immediately, then it goes right to internal. Everything feeds back to internal, and internal marketing is the only form of marketing that can plug the holes in the boat and let you convert more people than you currently are to get rid of those lost opportunities while generating new opportunities as well. External marketing can't help you close more people. Social media, your website, they can't help you close more people. Internal marketing can, and that's why it's the most powerful. However, there's a disconnect. It's the least invested in by doctors. Somebody explain that to me. Walt Disney, Apple, the most famous organizations are obsessed with it. The highest producing practices. Dr. White today is on this call. He's one of the leading, like I said, one of the leading Invisalign producers in the world. Dr. Regina Blevin's a client of ours, the leading Invisalign teen provider in the world. And they're obsessed with the internal operations of their practice, systems, protocols, etc., all going back to internal marketing. I want you guys, our clientele, to adopt the mindset of internal means everything. And again, that's not my opinion. There's biology reasons behind that, etc., that we're talking about today, because almost everything we're talking about today is internal marketing. Reciprocity, effective frequency, etc. There's exceptions, but most of it's internal marketing. Now, a quick tip to how you better increase your referrals. We get asked this all the time, and there's companies out there that they sell good products to increase your referrals. We're not saying they're bad. However, you have to pay for them, and most all of them don't go off of what biology has proven and get you more referrals. Because effective frequency means how many times, and the way you're saying it too. It can't just be thrown in front of their face and expect a return. It's also the way your message is. How many times you have to get a message across to somebody before they're likely to do it. The number one way to increase your patient referrals, and if you haven't heard about us talk about this inside your practice yet, you will. And if you haven't watched the videos on your growth platform, you'll get to them, is to train your staff how to ask and to ask every patient every time for them. That is how you increase your referrals. Well, won't we annoy people? No, and I'm going to tell you a reason why. If for whatever reason you ask for referrals to somebody over and over and over again, and they come back and they say, okay, Brian, I get it. You've asked me 15 times. That's where the staff training, internal marketing comes in. Meaning that, oh, Mr. Wright, the only reason why we're asking you is that we wish we had more patients like you. Because this practice would be so much more amazing if we had hundreds of you here. And boom, the situation's resolved. However, that's an internal marketing overcoming a patient complaint that your people have to be trained on. And that's how you increase your referrals. But you also do it in a different way. Eric loves talking about this because it's a Ritz-Carlton type situation. Is to make sure you and your staff are asking every patient inside your door, every person, every consumer inside your door, how did the experience go today? Did everything go well? Obviously asking in your own way. You don't want every single employee to go, how was your experience today? No. But if you care enough that to make sure that everyone's having a great experience, then you should be asking. And the biggest reason is that when they come back and they say, good, it's going great today. It opens up the perfect opportunity for you to then ask for a referral. Great. We work hard to make sure your experience is wonderful. We would love for you to send us your friends and family and even your coworkers. And if you're doing that with every patient every time, you are separating yourself from everybody else commercially because you are asking a question that nobody else in healthcare asks. How did we do today? Can we make your experience better? All the things that the Ritz-Carltons of the world ensure to ask every person. Healthcare practices don't ask that. Maybe on a one-off situation. But explain to me what the difference is. I can go somewhere else other than the Ritz-Carlton. There's tons of hotels to choose from. And I can also go somewhere else other than your practice, other than your business. So you have to do these things. It's so, so very important. Train your staff and yourself to ask for referrals by asking how your experience went today. If you do, your referrals will increase, and it's based on effective frequency. They cannot hear it once. I'm going to give you a quick story, and then we're going to move on to the next one. This was about 4 years ago in a practice that has been with us a very, very long time. I was in there, and I was just doing some monitoring. It's a local practice in Houston. And they were just implementing their new patient experience. So I was following along. They just had told the patient that I was a new employee there and I was learning. So I was following along with everything. And they got done with the new patient experience, the welcome tour, the interview. And I had heard the person doing the tour and everything ask for referrals twice. So at the beginning they did it, and at the end of the patient interview they did it 2 times. Then they moved them into the hygiene room that day. Or maybe it was with one of their assistants. I don't remember. And I went into the room while the person that did the experience went to get the next employee that was going to take over. And I shook the patient's hand, said, thanks for coming in today. And I asked them, just curious, has anybody asked you for referrals today? And guess what the patient said? No. And it proves, one, consumers have a short attention span. They're not listening to anything you say. So if you say it once or twice, it's not going to work. That's why this is being recorded and going in your platform. Everything needs to be heard countless amounts of times for you as a consumer, as a person, to fully comprehend it, do it, teach yourself, etc. That's why we do what we do. And it's no different with this practice. It goes back to effective frequency. That consumer, that patient did not hear that girl asked for referrals 2 times. Didn't hear it once. And it's why you have to be asking all the time. You have to ask for the business, otherwise you don't deserve the business. That's a huge saying in the commercial world. You have to constantly be closing. And there's no difference for your practice I want to thank you for listening, and a special thank you to all of our loyal followers out there and our clients and members of New Patient Group and the Dr. Diamond Club. Remember, subscribe to our Dr. Diamond Club podcast. You can find us on iTunes and other well-known places. Just type in Dr. Diamond Club. And remember to subscribe to our New Patient Group YouTube channel. Just enter New Patient Group into YouTube. And we ask you to subscribe and like as many videos as you can on there. Looking forward to talking to everybody again. We'll see you soon.